What are the top three things that are affecting the Los Angeles real estate market right now in 2025? Stay tuned. All right, so what are the top three things that I am seeing affecting the Los Angeles real estate market right now here in 2025? So the first of the three is insurance. And this is something that's really started to take shape, not just as a result of the recent wildfires here in Los Angeles, but we've kind of seen this building up over the course of the last 2 to 3 years. And this is something I've been kind of talking about in a lot of videos on our channel if you've been following us for a while. So when it comes to insurance, right, you're seeing premiums increase. You're seeing a lot of carriers leave not only Los Angeles, but the state of California. And as a result, even if you're not buying or selling, if you already own a property, you've seen your insurance premiums go up a lot over the course of the last few years. Now, of course, as a result of the wildfires, I've talked to so many different people in the insurance industry over the course of the last 2 months. And, I've gotten different answers. Some people think it's going to be 15 to 20%. A lot of people think it's going to be, maybe 25 to 40%. Some have said even higher. I think it depends whether or not you're actually going to be in a fire zone. So if you're a seller looking to sell a home, I think it's really important that you have to kind of keep this in the back of your mind, right? Because maybe your insurance policy for the entire year, your annual premium may be, $3,000, $4,000. But if you're in a high fire zone, right, what we're seeing right now from listings that have already closed escrow here in 2025, especially in these high fire zones, it's not uncommon to have a premium, an annual premium that ranges anywhere between $9,000 to $15,000. And a lot of times the only option is the California Fair Plan. And we just closed one recently that backed into the hills of O'Melveny Park right there in Granada Hills. And it's really funny because right at the beginning, before we put the home on the market, there was actually a small wildfire close by. And so the buyer who bought this house, we found out later that their annual premium is going to be about $11,000 a year, which is a lot of money. So you have to factor that in. So if you're a buyer, right, and you're going to be wanting to buy in a high fire zone area, it's probably a wise idea to talk with an insurance agent and figure out what type of premium, what the monthly payment's going to be on that premium, so you could factor that in and budget for that monthly payment. So something that you didn't really have 3, 4, 5 years ago here in Southern California, and that is now that you have an insurance contingency if you're a buyer to be able to obtain insurance. So just kind of shows you how things have changed and the landscape has changed here in Southern California over the last few years. Next up, interest rates. So look, the interest rates are not at their peak. The interest rates have come down a little bit. We've seen interest rates over 8% over the last couple of years. And then as recently at the beginning of this year, you saw rates over 7%, and now they've kind of dipped below 7%. Now, again, we're comparing that to where we were a couple of years ago in those unicorn years of 2020 to 2022, where the interest rates were under 3%. So that's never really going to happen again. But there's a lot of external factors that are taking place right now, and you are seeing the interest rates come down a bit. That being said, the interest rates are still pretty high, especially when you're considering the fact that the prices have continued to go up, not down. And so as a result of that, what we're finding right now here in LA County is that the point of which the amount of buyers really drops off is right after that 1.2. Right? Because if you think about it, and you take a step back, if you kind of go over to maybe like 1.5, that price point right now, especially if you're in a high fire zone, your monthly payment is going to be approximately $10,000 a month. And there's only a few buyers that can actually afford and be in that price point. And it's very common for us when we have listings over that 1.2 over the course of the last 5-6 months, we have a lot of buyers that come in and say, hey, we're only a pre-approved up to 1.1 or 1.2. We really love the house, but we just can't afford that much. So, you don't see as many multiple offer situations when those properties are listed over 1.2. Again, just because the average buyer is not actually actually able to afford that, right? And so I think when you think about it too, where the interest rates have gone up, the prices have gone up over the last few years. And so I think that for a lot of buyers, they're just the financial viability for them to be able to afford that much. The positive thing is that being here in Southern California, right, the economy is going to be better than most parts of the country, right? You're not going to have the same issues that you're going to have in Omaha, Nebraska or South Dakota. But at the same time, right, what you're seeing right now is a lot of the higher end properties are sitting just because it's the fact that the interest rates are higher. So take, for example, right, if you're familiar with Porter Ranch, California in the North Valley, take a look at like some of the gated communities up there. And the one I want to bring to your attention is Westcliff, right? So a lot of these people who bought in got between a 3 and 4% interest rate, right? And most of them bought between about 2 million to 2.5 or so. And then the prices spiked all the way up to 4 million, right? And then as the interest rates creeped up, right, now you're looking at about a 7% interest rate, and that's a jumbo loan. So, and the interest rates can even be higher than 7%. So now, even if you come in with 20% down, 30% down, 40% down, right, that your monthly payment is so much higher than what the current owners have. And so a lot of these properties sit. And so if you look again county-wide, what you're seeing is the properties that are selling really quick right now are the ones that are 1.2 and below. And then, you will see multiple offers if the home is priced correctly and the home's in really good condition. And that's because the buyers just simply don't have the down payment and additional funds to be able to remodel a home. So going back to the Westcliff, right, before you saw property selling over 4 million. Now I'm seeing those around 2.5, 2.6. So times have definitely changed when it comes to those higher price points. Now, just to give you an idea, right, the house that we're standing in right now is one of our listings, and this is a home that's listed at $750,000, and it's probably going to go out closer to $800,000 because one, it was priced right, the condition's really clean, and you know what? This is the price point where all the buyers are in right now. Last and finally is the extremely low inventory on the market. So this is as a result of a few different things that are taking place. The obvious one is the interest rate lock effect, where you have people that have an interest rate of 3% and under. For them, even if they want to move and they want to be closer to family, schools, work, whatever the case may be, maybe they need a bigger place right now because their family's growing. Maybe they want to downsize, right? But what's keeping people in their homes right now is the fact that they have a really low interest rate. And a lot of people, they don't want to have to give that up, especially when you're talking about maybe more than double of the current interest rate that they have right now. So that's inventory that's not coming on the market right now currently. And then you throw on top of that you have a lot of seniors that they're not moving right now because they have so much equity in the home because they pretty much bought the home in the Flintstone era, right, more or less. And so because of that, they're worried about being subject to so much capital gains tax that they would prefer to just stay put. So you have two different demographic and sectors that are not moving, and that's keeping inventory really low. And then on top of that, you have the fact that there's really not a lot of land here left in Los Angeles County outside of northern LA County, maybe like Castaic, Valencia, Lancaster, like those areas. So you don't see a lot of brand new construction that's taking place. And I've talked about this a few times in some of our videos on this channel that, look, most of the new construction that's taking place right now, especially here in LA County, they're smaller projects, right? So, look at the Ridge of Bella Vista in Porter Ranch. That's a development that only has 65 home sites. Hidden Oaks in Chatsworth only has 33 home sites. So you're not seeing these massive build communities, these new build communities where you maybe have over 1,000 home sites in the community. You just don't see that because there's not enough land. So you see these smaller communities actually being built. That's number one. And when it comes to new construction, what we're typically finding right now that most of them outside of the condos, they are typically what you actually find, they're luxury builds. So most of them kind of start at about 1.5, but a lot of them are over 2 million. And again, even with all the incentives and whatnot, and a lot of the builders have incentives that start for maybe 5% for the first year on the interest rate, even with that, right, most of the buyers just don't actually qualify to be in that price point. So again, you have a situation where you just don't have enough inventory. And so you kind of put this all in the pot together, right? Between the insurance, the interest rates, and really low inventory, and it creates for a really interesting market. So again, on the one hand, you are seeing a lot of homes selling, but the ones that are selling, especially right now, typically tend to be under that 1-2 price point. That is kind of the magical spot right now. And when you look at it countywide right now, when you look at the homes that have closed since the beginning of the year, the homes that actually closed under 1.3 right now, it's about 70% of the escrows that have closed since the beginning of the year had a list price of 1.3 or less. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So now, how does this affect you if you're a buyer or a seller? So I think if you're a buyer right now, I think it's really, you got to know your information. You got to get your ducks in a row, talk with a lender, get all that organized to start. And then I think you got to work with a great real estate agent to kind of craft a plan of how you're going to get your offer accepted, right? Because there are a lot of pockets right now here in Southern California where the prices are continuing to go up, even though the average price point is over 1.3. And then you have other areas where the prices are really flat. And so I think that you have to work with an agent. So I think if you know where you want to be, know the prices, know what your inventory is, and that way you'll be able to write the best offer. Now, if you're looking at a townhouse or a condo to buy, I think that's where you probably have the biggest discounts right now, because the condos and townhouses are having so many insurance issues, which is a totally different insurance issue than the fire insurance that we've been talking about. And so you're seeing a lot of the prices come down on the condos and townhouses here in Southern California. All right, any questions regarding this video, any real estate questions, reach out to me, 818-396-3311. That's 818-396-3311. Thanks again for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.